The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this show belong solely to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate and not that of Keller Williams TCI or any of its affiliates. Any action you take upon the information provided on this show is strictly at your own risk, and Let's Talk TCI Real Estate guests or hosts will not be liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of the material. I am not an investment advisor, broker, or dealer. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk TCI Real Estate. Feel free to take a minute and share the page. Let me first apologize for last week's show. I had to make a last-minute decision to cancel due to a matter beyond my control. I am glad to be back here with you today on this another episode of Let's Talk TCI Real Estate. If you remember on the last aired show, I mentioned that I would change the show a little for last week's segment. Well, today we are not talking about real estate, but rather we are talking about an important new service that has recently been established on the islands of Providence Islands. But definitely next week we will be back with another real estate conversation. We will have 30 minutes to speak with my guests, after which you can ask any questions you may have. Please put the questions in the comment section and I will try my best not to miss anyone out. As always, I prefer to have my guests introduce themselves. So please, Ms. Bean, go ahead and start by telling us about yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cleola. I am a registered nurse and EMT. I'm also the CEO of Turks and Caicos Homeaid Care, and by extension, Homeaid.
Okay. So we're going to get right into the questions. Just want to ask, where did the idea of Turks and Caicos Homeaid Care come from? Where did this idea all started?
Well, the idea of Turks and Caicos Homeaid Care basically came from me starting to, when I left government, in 2015, and I started to do some private nursing with private clients around the island. And in doing so, Turks and Caicos Homeaid Care was formed because a lot of persons, they need help, medical help, and non-medical help. They need assistance at home, and persons with knowledge that know how to carry out certain aspects of that assistance in terms of medical care. So that's where Turks and Caicos Homeaid Care.
Okay. And so before opening your doors to the public, how long were you in operation?
Before opening my doors to the public, I was doing private nursing for about 3 years before I actually had Turks and Caicos Homeaid.
Okay, so
Turks and Caicos Homeaid Care opened officially in 2019, January 2019.
Okay. So you do have a slogan talking about it's time for care. Can you just elaborate a little bit about your slogan for me?
Sure. The slogan is time for care when it's time for care. So basically it's saying that when it's time for care and you can't get it as readily as you would like to have it, as comfortably as you would like to have it, meaning in your own home, as opposed to having to be hospitalized for an extended period of time. That's where the slogan comes in, time for care when it's time for care.
Okay. And talking about care, obviously we want to make sure that anyone who uses your service wants to make sure that they are in good care. So I will ask you how many professional staff members that you have to be able to supply this good care to the general public.
Currently, I have 3 registered nurses and 3 caretakers that are also trained.
Okay, along with yourself.
Yes, including myself.
Okay, then. So walk us through the process of getting, if we would like for our family member to use your service. Walk us through that process. What do we do? What applications do we fill out, etc.?
So the process, first of all, it's for home care, meaning if you would like someone to come into your home and provide care in your personal home, then there's an assessment process. Whereas I would come out and I would meet with you in your home and in your home environment with the person that needs to be cared for, and we would do an in-home assessment there, where we would find what needs are that you really require. What would you need to function on a daily basis with assistance from someone that is medically knowledgeable. So firstly, we would go into the home and sit with the relatives and the person, find out exactly what the needs are. Then we will take a further step from there and supply those needs to the best of our ability, making sure that we have the client as the highest priority in that process.
Okay, so I'll also ask, so would that person, I know you're assessing the needs, but would that person also need, I know you are a trained nurse as well, but any medical records from any other doctor or anything because it's like the type of care you're offering?
Right. So a part of the assessment would be for me to find out the history of that person, the medical history of the person, and that way I have a better knowledge and a better understanding, and I can provide a better level of care depending on the history of it. So I usually ask for just the medical history.
Okay,
Doesn't exactly have to come from the doctor, it can come from the client because usually they know
what's going
ins and
on?
outs of what's going on with them. Yes.
Okay. So tell us basically, what all services do you offer?
Okay, so basically we offer both medical and non-medical services. Medical services being services such as wound care, management of medication, accompanying clients to the doctors. And that one is important because a lot of times we go to the doctor and we sit with the doctor, and the doctor is speaking to us and telling us about things, and we can't grasp it if we're not medically knowledgeable. It's not
Right.
always easy to understand what's happening, what's going on, and what needs to be done. So if you have someone that's trained to go along with you, then it gives you a better idea of what's happening. If I can break it down into terms where you can understand and what needs to be done, and then we work forward from there. So that's an important part of the service that we offer, with assisting, accompanying persons to the doctors. We also,
Yeah, that's a very important point that you did make. Making sure that they understand exactly what the doctor is saying, because we have
yes,
a lot of people around who you go to the doctor, they leave out and you ask them, I mean, what was said, and they still have no clue as to what's going on.
exactly.
Yeah. So continue.
Right. So non-medical services would be things such as light housekeeping, meal preparation, and we prepare meals according to your dietary needs and restrictions. We do laundry services. We pay your bills. If you need bills to be paid, we go out and pay bills and provide companionship. A lot of persons especially the elderly, are at home and their family members are gone all day and they're there alone all day. Companionship. So that's also an important part of the service that we provide. We also do blood pressure and blood monitoring and recording, which is important because again, when you go to the doctor, you want to be able to say, this is my blood sugar at this time of day and my blood pressure at this time of day, and trying to find a balance between it and figure out what causes it maybe to be high or to be low, if the medication is working, and so on.
Right. Okay. You had also mentioned about management of medication. Could you explain further what that means for us?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Say again.
Management of medication. Could you explain further
Okay,
what that means to us?
sure. So management of medication. Some persons have several medications that they might be taking, and sometimes the way how we take the medications are not always the way that it's prescribed to be taken. Because of this, they're not effective. So if you have someone that helps you manage that and to make sure that you're taking the right medications at the right times, and sometimes there might be instances where that medication you shouldn't take it because of whatever circumstance. For example, if you're on blood pressure medication and you check your blood pressure and it's very low, then you wouldn't take that medication at that time. So we're trained to see, and myself, and my staff are trained to recognize things like that and to
Right.
adjust accordingly.
Right. Okay, and can you just reiterate for us, who is this service specifically for? Is it just for the elderly?
Okay, so the service is not just for the elderly, it's also for persons that might be suffering from a medical illness and just needs assistance at home while they continue to recover, or a surgical procedure and they're discharged from the hospital and you're at home, but you just can't function at 100%. You need a little bit of help to get you to that next step where you can, function um, on your own until that time. So we offer services not only to the elderly, but to persons that might be recovering from some sort of illness or surgery. We also do wound care as well. So if you have a dressing that needs to be done, and sometimes you have to go to the hospital to have it done, instead of going to the hospital and have that dressing done, we also provide that service to come and do the dressing, depending on an assessment, of course. So, like I said, it might be something that we can manage, and if it's something that we can manage, then we can do that directly at home. And you don't have to go to the doctor 4 times through the week to do a dressing. So we alleviate that level of stress of running back and forth to the hospital.
Okay. And so, and can your home be also for someone who wants to be there permanently because you are talking about the elderly?
Okay. So Homely Haven is actually a home that is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is a permanent home for the elderly, or again, I wouldn't limit it to the elderly. I would say maybe a person that's been in an accident and they need specialized care that they can't get at home, or that the relatives might not be able to manage at home. So
Right.
it would also be for persons in that sense of the need. So it is 24-hour care, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So yes, it would be that.
Okay, so what does visitation rights looks for the look, I mean, how do you deal with visitation of those patients? So if I have my person go and come into your home, what are the limitations as family members?
So currently, because of COVID-19, we would have to limit the way that we interact and um, visit with our relatives. Unfortunately, especially because this Homely Haven would be a facility that would be geared mostly towards persons that are um, in the bracket where they are, most vulnerable to COVID. And because of this, visitations would have to be scheduled, and of course, um, we would have to limit the amount of visitation that can happen. Um, However, we here at Home Haven, we have um, internet, and with the internet, you can do so much wonderful things like what we're doing right now. So you can always FaceTime our relative and visit from that aspect of it until we can just get a better cover on COVID and know how best to deal with it. Our main priority always is keeping the persons that we have under our care safe.
Okay, because you mentioned COVID-19, what are some of the precautions that you currently have in place, other than what you spoke about, in terms of for the safety of the elderly?
So,
And that's inclusive for staff members as well as those who are visiting.
right. So, like I said, visitation would be limited, very limited as to who can visit and what they. Staff members, of course, everyone would have a negative COVID test, as well as everyone who's entering. So all the persons that are entering the home has to have a negative COVID test. Staff members also would have all the necessary PPE that are required and that are standard under the government ordinance in managing COVID. So we have from face masks to gloves to face shields,
Right.
full gowns, the whole works. Hand sanitizers, alcohol, disinfecting sprays, Lysol.
Okay. And sticking with the subject of safety, um, because of the kind of patients that you have in your care, what are some of the safety measures that the home has generally, not just COVID related, for your patients?
So generally, we have electric beds. So they move up and down. They lower, you can lower the height, lower or raise the height. And all the beds have side rails. So that would be prevention of fall. Rails go up and down. Floors are have been modified with non-slip strips because, of course, with the elderly, we find sometimes that it's when they're moving around, it's easy for them to slide and slip and fall. There are cameras in every one of the rooms so that we don't lose sight as well as the outside. There are cameras inside all the rooms as well as outside so that we don't lose sight of anyone at any point in time. There are also baby monitors in all the rooms as well so that we can hear what's going on and we basically have an idea of what's happening at any point in time. We also have grab bars that go around corners to hold on to, walkers. Walkers have wheelchairs, all standard items that any regular nursing home would have.
Yeah, well, that
And
sounds, go
there
ahead.
will also, there will also be at least 3 persons in the home at all times for care purposes. So that there will never be a time that there's no one here. Also, there will always be a person.
Right. Well, that
Three
sounds,
persons, meaning 3 persons in the morning and 3 persons in the evening. Someone gonna be here relative.
well, that sounds like a very comprehensive list of things, which is always good because definitely safety is a must, and safety is an important question. I know that many persons would ask you about once they are entrusting their family member with your home care. So all of the things you are talking about, how you got started, I mean, how many staff members you have, everything like that, it leads me to ask you, what are some of the challenges you had? And, I know we're going a little bit back, but it shows that you really put a lot of thought into the process to get you where you are today, just answering the questions. And I want to know what are some of the challenges you may have had while you were setting this home care up?
The biggest challenges I think that we had COVID. COVID has definitely been a great setback. It was difficult to find some of the items that we required because we got a lot of course, we ordered most items from overseas, and basically, we should have been open from March, but because of COVID, everything that was the most, I think, challenging part of putting everything.
Okay. And so it's getting more easier now that it's all up and running and you're moving day to
Yes,
day. And what have the
yes.
and I mean, how has the response been from the general public since you've opened your doors?
The response from the general public has been immense. It's been absolutely overwhelming. we have had so many different people donate so many different things to the home that it's been overwhelming. From bath soap to water coolers to some of our security cameras. We've had many, many donations. Diapers, had persons come in and view the facility and wanting to donate their time when we're functioning, when we have clients, in terms of visiting with the elderly and carrying out certain aspects of care. That hairdressers come in and said that they would like to donate time, and it's just been it has been so much to mention. So if I forget anybody, please forgive me. But so many people have donated time to us. It's really, really good.
Well, that's really good. And so because of that, I started to ask you then, what, I mean, are there any additional things that the home would need that, for anybody who's listening, that they can assist by providing for you? Because I know it's a continuous exercise and you may get
It
a lot
is.
of so many things, but you want to make sure you have all those things in stock. Are there any things
Right.
that you think you would need that the general public who would love to help with the initiative can donate?
Well, generally, what I say is this: if there's something that you think would be useful in a home, then you just give me a call. My number is on Facebook and 242-8372 or 344-6211. Just give a call and you say what it is that you would like to donate and something that we can accept, and we would definitely. Right now, we're actively working on trying to get a transport. That's our next big step or big item that we're trying to get, because we want to be able to comfortably transport our clients back and forth to their doctor's appointments, therapy, and so on. Really would like to have.
Okay. I just want to pause for a minute to say if there are any questions out there, please send your questions. If there are no questions, please share a comment. Please let Ms. Cleola Bean know, about how you feel about her services at this time. So any questions or anything, put it in the comments at this time. Share some hearts, share some likes, share some comments, and encourage this lady today. So I'll ask you. So what are your future plans for the business then? Just while we're waiting, if any questions comes out, what are your future plans for the business? Is because there's a new concept to many persons, but it is a very much needed service in the island. Do you intend to extend to any other islands, or what? You tell me, what is your future plans for the business?
Well, of course, there's always plans for the future. We do plan on extending to different. We would like for all the family owners to benefit from the service as such, and we're working towards that as well. That's as much as I can say right now for future plans without giving away too much information. We'd like it to be a surprise, so we're definitely doing some more stuff, some more things that the island definitely needs.
Right. So just excuse me if I pause a little bit because sometimes the internet is coming in and out, and so I'm just trying to listen carefully. Okay. Um, so just looking at a question. Does NHIP cover any expense for any of the patients that, I mean, possibly would come to your home care?
Um, I can't directly say yes that they would, but I can say um, a person who might want to have a relative in here, there's no harm in going and sit down and talk with them, what it is that they can or assisting that in that aspect. But I can't say yes or no. I'm not certain their policies and what they cover.
Okay. Another question I'm receiving is, I mean, are there any activities for the elderly at the home, at your home care?
Yes. Again, like I mentioned before, companionship is a big part of caring for elderly. So we have quite a few activities that we have lined up when we have clients come in, such as we have persons that want to come in. They came with them. We're going to have light exercise. And we can manage to do it because um, a lot of things can be done from the wheelchair if the person is in a wheelchair and so on. So we have persons that want to come in time and help them to do yoga and meditation, play dominoes, we have games, all those things, all those activities are what we're looking forward to doing with our elderly once we have clients in here. Movie nights, game nights, they will be our family.
Yeah, so you have everything organized, just waiting for all the influx of customers to just come right in.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any more questions out there before we turn our attention to wrap it up? I'm sure there are many questions out there. This lady is in the healthcare field. This is a new initiative. You know, she's excited. I am excited. You know, I've actually I've had a person ask me about doing something like this before, not me personally. They were talking about trying to do something like this on island a few years back, and it didn't work out. And so when I saw that, hey, you had opened the home care, I was very excited because I know that there is a need on island. People have been calling for it for a long time. My office has worked closely with the Cancer Society for a long time, and we see that there is a need for this type of service. So I'm sure persons may have questions out there that they would want to ask at this time. Put it in the comments box. If we miss you, we will get it to Cleola. She will respond even on the live, on the feed afterwards if you don't have any questions. And again, if you don't have any questions, send her an encouraging word because I think this is a bold step. And again, I've said it several times, but it's much needed for the Turks and Caicos. I do know of elderly, um, I mean, um, families when it's time to travel, they're not sure who to leave their loved ones with. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you. I mean, at this time. So take advantage of it. So, with that said, I'll say please share any last encouraging words, final words that you would want the public to know about your services at this time. Anything you think will help them clear up any misconceptions about the business. This is your opportunity, Cleola.
So I firstly let me thank everybody for all the encouragement and for all the encouraging words and messages that I've been receiving. It has not gone unnoticed. Um, what I can say is that if anyone has any questions or any concerns or would like to come and visit the facility and sit and talk about what would happen if their loved one is here or in here, I'm always available. So give me a call at 649-242-8372 or 344-6211. I'm always available to talk and set up an appointment for you to give you the comfort that you would need if your loved one has.
That's really good. So I know you've done your closing remarks, but I just had one last question. I just want to throw it in before. You know, hurricane season is coming up. Um, if there is anyone out there who has an elderly person who's, you know, really doesn't have someone to take care of them like that, is this an opportunity for them also to employ your services to house them during a hurricane?
So right now, we're in conversation with the hospital as a backup in case that we need to move persons hurricanes. Of course, you know, here in the Turks Caicos and Providenciales especially, we flood very easily. So because of this, I don't think that even if we were to go through a hurricane, in this facility. So we remove our person, our patient, as long as we get that confirmation. So if what I can say is that we will be willing to care for additional persons during a time like that, which will be a crisis, under our service without an additional charge at the hospital.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Well, thank you so much um, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. All the information you have shared is very valuable to us, and I'm hoping, not hoping, I'm sure that those in the audience, they also got a lot of information. And sorry, for some reason my camera is not showing, but I'm sure that they receive a lot of information, and I'm grateful for you coming on the show with us today. So, also thanks once again to the listening audience. See you guys next week. If there's a topic that you would like for us to discuss on Let's Talk TCI Real Estate, please let us know about it. Share it in the comments section. I will try my best to get a guest to come and speak on the issue. And if not, then I will also prepare a video for you and post it on my page. So until next week, stay safe and remain blessed. Thanks once again for listening. Have a great afternoon. Bye bye. Thank you, Cleola.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.